Let me tell you about ProHealthConnect.com. It's transforming healthcare payments, providing retailers a seamless process for over-the-counter and healthy benefit programs. By connecting retailers, health plans, and payment processors, ProHealth Connect creates one powerful, unified network. They empower independent grocers and pharmacies to accept health benefit cards without changing how they do business. With over 10,000 locations nationwide, helping more than 1.3 million people access the care and nutrition they need. Go to ProHealthConnect.com.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Attention Ditto Heads.
I'm in the fast lane.
Attention Bo Scouts.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
It's time for the soul of excellence.
He is a radio host here in New York.
The Rush Hour is on the air.
Rush.
Now here's James Golden.
Well, I can tell you this. Last week he threatened Florida and said that if somehow we went through with a map that we were going to have hell to pay, he was going to come down and we were going to pay the price somehow. And look, those threats may work when you're running a political machine in Brooklyn in your district.
Right.
Those threats do not work on me. And so we released the map on Monday. The legislature passed it on Wednesday, and that is that. And so, but this guy's a real piece of work because he thinks he can issue threats. He thinks that's the way people want to see. And a lot of people don't know who he is around the country. He's more left than Pelosi. Midterm elections are tough when you're the party in power. You always have to battle currents. But I will tell you, the more voters know that a vote for Democrats could be a vote to put Hakeem Jeffries in Speaker, that is going to help Republicans. So I've invited him down to Florida. I'll pay for his travel. We'll take him around the state. The more voters see of him, I think it's better for our Republican candidates.
Welcome, my friends, to the I Can't Believe It's Friday Already edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, fastest hour in American media. That was Princess Diana's favorite governor in the whole United States of America, Governor Ron DeSantis, out of Florida. And, big news, of course, in Florida. There's a story out today about how the maps work, and I was just smiling to myself as I read portions of it. So, we've got that. As those of you in New York heard on our pre-open, there have been 17 earthquakes at Area 51. No joke. Kook alert, red. 17 earthquakes have been reported at Area 51. 17. Don't know what that means. Yesterday, we left you with a song. We usually have now started picking a song of the day to leave most often. Yesterday, we left you with a song that I love very much from Spandau Ballet. True. Always loved the song. Still love it. So, I leave the studio complex following the show. Go back to work, which is what I usually do. Show's over one day, start working on tomorrow's show. Opened up the Daily Mail. There's a story. A story. Headlined as follows. Moment, Spandau Ballet rapist Ross Davison smirks and huffs as he is arrested for raping and sexually abusing 6 women. I said, that headline I just read was true. I just read it. Turns out the charges are not new. It was yesterday that he was jailed for charges that he has been convicted on. 38 years old. He used the name Ross Wild. And this might be him. They say he's lead singer for Spandau Ballet. Scotsman. Denied any sexual assaults, but jury saw otherwise. It is an 8-page story that goes through all the gory details. He will have the next 14 years to sing to himself and his fellow inmates, because that's how long he's going to be staying in jail. Sad, true and sad, my friends. Okay, let me see. Yeah, hold on one second here, folks. I'm sorry. Oh, Princess Diana just sent me a little. Well, he is your favorite governor, and he has done well. You ought to be so proud, Princess Diana. We can talk about it tomorrow. You ought to be so proud of what he has done in Florida. I have an AP folks, okay, they're losing their minds. Democrats all over America are losing their minds over two things at once. The Supreme Court decision, which we've now been talking about 2 days. It's almost as if it happened yesterday. They're all coming out of the woodwork now, raging, including James Carville. And at the same time, they're raging over the Florida decision to revamp their maps. Now, the AP, the Tallahassee, Florida AP, has a story about Florida's slice and dice congressional districts, how a new map could cost Democrat seats. And they go into detail about what the Republicans did. And I have to tell you, some of it made me smile. Chicago, make me smile. From Chicago, too. Make me smile. For instance, cracking in Tampa Bay area could mean no Democrat seats. They say Pinellas and Hillsborough counties were not that long ago regarded as two of the most populous swing counties in United States politics. Those are for voters around the Tampa and St. Petersburg area. Currently, the core metro area is split between the right-leaning district represented by Representative Anna Paulina Luna and the left district represented by Democrat Kathy Castor. The new map splits that into 3 districts, all of which tilt Republican. And Castor's seat now includes more conservative rural areas. She called the new designs blatantly illegal. Okay, she'll have her day in court. Packing Orlando turns 2 Democrat districts into 1. So what the Democrats Darren Soto and this guy Maxwell Frost, this young little whippersnapper out of Florida, Maxwell Frost. They put their 2 districts together in one big district. True. So they'll either have to run against each other in the primaries, or one is going to have to drop out. I'm sorry. This is hysterical. Well, one of them is going to have to drop out, or else they're going to have to run against each other. I'm sorry, I just find it so humorous. And then, heavily black district erased to reorder South Florida seats. James, why are you laughing? I'm not laughing at the headline of that. I'm laughing because this is Sheila Sherflewis McCormick, the one that is alleged to have stole all the FEMA money, alleged that she just resigned from Congress as they look to kick her out. what they've done is that district was originally drawn to comply with the Voting Rights Act provisions that the Supreme Court just said, nah, don't worry about those. You're not supposed to lean on race that heavily. You're supposed to be colorblind. And then in West Palm Beach, they scrambled up the districts for Lois Frankel and Jared Maskowitz. It creates a more Democrat district in West Palm Beach, but some of Frankel's voters now are, it is going to be a mess. And then Debbie Wasserman Schultz loses her district completely in the new map. She's going to have to decide where to run. So those are some of the things that happened with the Florida maps. And yes, now I'm going to reiterate something. I'm going to reiterate something here. I am opposed to all this gerrymandering. But since unfairness is the coin of the realm, and the Democrats gerrymander, you have to gerrymander. What I want to see happen, and I continue, I'm getting notes. I know Princess Diana is proud of DeSantis. Lady Benedict is writing me. Yeah. And I just know how proud that our princess must be of Ron DeSantis. She must be dancing with this new map. I am against all gerrymandering. I am. I believe that we are a country that has the best technology in the world, that we should look at the formula for making districts, which is supposed to be population against geography, and we should use a technological map that makes the districts as equal as possible, given the geography of America, and be done with it. Chips fall where they may. Whoever wins the most seats wins the most seats. That's what I honestly believe should happen. But since it's not going to happen, and we are dealing with unfair gerrymandering maps, where Democrats see fit to just take out Republicans, as they have been, well, you got to fight that fire with fire. So, there's that. We have more today, as I said, before we go, yes, let's take the break first. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you now, as we return from our profit center, you will be listening to the words of James Carville on the way back. We're just going to go with Carville on the way back and then get on with other things. Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour continues.
Rush. This is the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Bo Snerdley.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
And you talk about the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
There is no reason, none, that you should have any respect or any admiration for this pack of people who take money from anybody, don't report anything, are the only 9 people in the entire federal government that operates under no ethic group. A private in the Army is subject to more ethics regulations than the 9 justices on the Supreme Court. What do? They take trips. They take money. They show up at the airport and they fly a world-class fishing trip to Alaska. They sell their houses to people for more money that practice law before the Supreme Court. Their wives work as headhunters to law firms that practice before the Supreme Court. These sons of bitches were so political, so happy to help the Republican Party any way they could. They wrote a convoluted decision that legal scholars are still trying to wonder through to think, what the was the rationale for this? It was an unintelligible decision by a leader who is nothing more than a political hack. Now, you got to understand it. Whatever they say, you got to obey them because they'll throw your ass in jail. But you don't have to respect them.
You have to respect them.
You have a right. They might take it away, but right now you have a right to criticize who you want in this country. And of course, what they're trying to do at every juncture they can is screw black people as hard as they can.
They're not Democrats. They're not trying to screw black people as hard as they can. I mean, James, you just overreacting, buddy. I think you need to go have some crawfish, put some Tabasco sauce on the crawfish, and pull yourself a nice, you know, something, maybe a mint julep or something like that there, and go reflect back on the day, James Carver, when your ancestors in Democrat Party really had control of blacks in the South. Before the freedom days. You know what I'm talking about, James, because y'all Democrats are the one. Now, folks, I keep hearing Jim Crow, Jim Crow, Jim Crow. I'm hearing it again all day from certain Democrats. And then you have Hank Johnson. Now, Hank has moved on. He's not offering up legislation to prevent islands in the South Pacific from tipping over if too many Marines come. Cut number 7, here's Hank Johnson.
Hello, everybody. This is Congressman Hank Johnson, representing Georgia's 4th Congressional District.
Hiya, Hank.
Over my shoulder, you see the United States Supreme Court looming in the background.
Looming.
I'm sorry to report, ladies and gentlemen, that these folks are trying to take us back to a time when black folks had no rights. They're taking away our ability to elect the representatives of our choice.
No,
that's what they did in gutting the Voting Rights Act yesterday.
That's not what they did.
It's an abominable ruling up there with Plessy versus Ferguson and Dred Scott, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, you don't mean
but
the other
that's what
Democrat.
We have, ladies and gentlemen, a 6-3 MAGA majority on the United States Supreme Court. What do we do?
Elections.
One thing we can do is pass term limits. I'm going to be pushing that bill to the highest degree. And we also need to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. Thank you. Have a great day.
Well, we can term limit. Hank Johnson has been there so many terms. If he wants term limits, all he has to do is step aside. That's all he has to do. Step aside. Oh. As for this business about disenfranchising black people, I'm going to address that when we get back. Because that's not what's happening here at all. We'll be right back.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush?
Wait, really? I just found out that one of Princess Diana's reporters, she has reporters. They go out, one of Princess Diana's reporters were, when the president was speaking and asked a question. So let's hear that. Let's hear that exchange.
Would you consider Ron DeSantis for a cabinet position?
Well, I like him a lot, so nobody did. I like him a lot.
Yeah, that was Princess Diana's reporter asking Donald Trump if he would consider Ron DeSantis for a cabinet post. Way to go. James Golden, Snerdley, with you here on our Friday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. Okay, let's continue with the upset. You heard from Carville. You heard from Hank Johnson. Let's go a few more. Let's hit PMS now with Mark Elias. Cut 2. This is Elias ragging on the Supreme Court's decision.
Look, I think that we need to understand this as both a redistricting story, but also as a democracy story. The redistricting story is very clear, which is that the state of Louisiana is trying to cancel these elections so that they can gerrymander and disenfranchise black voters. But the larger democracy story, Chris, and I think you got it exactly right, is the governor has declared a state of emergency to cancel, to suspend an ongoing election. Yeah. That he does not like the direction in which it's going. Now, I wonder, Chris, when we get to next November, when we get to the general election, whether or not we will have, for example, a president of the United States.
Okay, enough. This is the kind of nonsense that you get on PMS now. The governor of the state issued an emergency order to cancel an election because he doesn't like the way it's going. That's not at all what happened, folks. Supreme Court said in their decision that the second district that was drawn in response to using too much emphasis on race has to be eliminated. The primary is, how are you going to vote on a primary? The Supreme Court just said is an illegal district. So we have an emergency here. We have to halt the election. The ballots are out, but the Supreme Court made a ruling. This is not because someone didn't like the way the election was going. It's a safe seat if it were the way it was going. But the seat and the district have now been ruled to be illegal. So they have to move the election back. It's really not complicated to understand. You got Al Green, Mr. Impeach, cut 3. This is Al Green, Representative Al Green of Tejas.
Hello, everyone. I'm here at the Supreme Court again, and I want people to know that this decision in Louisiana versus Calais cannot go unnoticed. President Trump has stacked the court, and the only way we can deal with a stacked court is to unstack the court. We may have to add additional justices to the Supreme Court so that people of color can get justice in the United States of America.
People of color get justice in the United States of America every single day. And nothing that the court did takes that away. This is all political bloviating and race baiting. Senator Ralph Warnock from Georgia. Also, let's cut 6. Senator Warnock from Georgia.
This ruling harkens back to the darkest days of the Jim Crow era, when black Americans were kept out of rooms of power.
By Democrats.
This is one huge step backwards.
No.
For racial justice and for the health of our democracy. With this decision, coupled with the continued erosion of the Voting Rights Act by the Supreme Court, the voices of the American people are being further squeezed out of their democracy.
No. Like I said, I want to address that, but I want to hear a few. Now, let's hear from the guy that's affected. This guy, Cleo Fields from Louisiana, I think he's the one in the district that has to be eliminated. If not, it's the other representative there, because there are only 2 of these districts. But this is Cleo Fields, who I believe's district is the one that the Supreme Court ruled on. And this is a little bit lengthy. It's cut 8, Carlos, and let's
But black
dig in.
residents, they make up about 1/3 of the population in Louisiana, about 1/5 of the population in the South overall. Tell me what your constituents are saying to you about the decision from this Supreme Court and how it might gut the voting rights that have affected black representation.
I mean, they're really upset about it. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it's because of states like Louisiana that has a history of discriminating against blacks. But it's not just the history, it's present. You know, people in Louisiana and in Mississippi and Alabama, there are folk who, you know, even after the Congress passed the 15th Amendment and brought about, gave people the right to vote, there were still states like Louisiana that were denying people access to the ballot box.
Democrats ran it.
That's why we came up with the Voting Rights Act.
That's
and
true.
And even today, people are doing it. There's not a single African-American ever elected to Congress from Louisiana from a majority white district, period. You know, people unfortunately vote on racial lines. I mean,
okay, stop it right there. Because, my friends, therein, that one sentence is the key to all of this. What he said, I'm doing this ebonically so that I can try to reach out to members that understand Ebonics. What he said is really important. What he said is that in Louisiana, we don't have one black representative that was voted in by white people. Right? You heard him. The issue isn't race. Look at what happens in other states, ladies and gentlemen. Byron Donalds was elected in Florida in a district that was not predominantly black. You had in the state of Utah black congressmen elected by people that were not black. In Tejas, Wesley Hunt is sitting in a congressional seat. He happens to be black. He did not come from a predominantly black district. So this is a false narrative that white people will not vote for black people, and the insinuation is because they are inherently racist, they see a black face, and they don't want to vote for that black face. That is not true. In fact, if you go around the country, there were many districts where you had purple districts that voted for Obama. Now, some of those voters, maybe not a majority of, twice voted for the black dude. It is not true that white people, Republicans, or white people in general will not vote for a black guy. It's not true. Here's what is true. Here's what is true. Many conservatives will not vote for a liberal. Be that liberal black or white. You could put a white liberal in some of these same seats, and you know what would happen? White people wouldn't vote for him, not because of his skin color, but because of his or her liberal ideology. This much is true. Conservatives and conservative-leaning people do not vote for liberals because they are not conservatives or conservative-leaning. So if you draw a map and you're drawing it on all with whatever, then you can say, okay, if you drew maps fairly, not on the basis of race, but just on the basis of people, you could say then that the reason for the vote is because ideology. This is not, again, I'm going to repeat it again. What we're talking about here is not about race. It's about the ideology. I guarantee you, if Democrats, if a black conservative like a Byron Donalds, like a Wesley Hunt, ran in some of these districts, you'd get plenty of white people to vote for him if they were in that district. What you wouldn't get voting for him are black Democrats. So this is a problem. When you rely on race and you draw a district based on race because you figure that blacks belong to your Democrat plantation, they're going to stay on that plantation no matter what, and that's how you draw your district, Well, not only is it illegal, but it's harmful to you as a party because you never have to compete. You never have to compete for votes. And those days apparently are over. Winsome Sears, I just got that. Almost all Virginia conservatives voted for the black woman who voted for the white girl, Abigail Spanberger. The Democrats voted. And they vote against black people when they think black people don't serve her, and she's not the only one. You can go all the way back. Look, white people voted for this Michael Steele character who turned out to be a big Republican. No names. I'm just not going to go there. They voted for Allen West. In the presidential primaries, you saw black people showing so much love to other Ben Carson. And you can go back. So it's not about just race. Despite what Democrats try to push every day, it is. And then listen to Whoopi Goldberg on The View. Cut 9. This is Whoopi Goldberg.
Another problem. We make laws to fix problems. We put the Voting Rights Act together because there was an issue. Because they were keeping people from voting.
Right.
Yes,
they were
true.
Literally shooting people. They were running them down with dogs to keep them from voting. Okay, let's start with that. So when they say that problem is gone, it's not gone. No. Because you're still doing it. You're still doing it. And what I don't understand...
stop it right there. No, everything she said was true up until the point was that problem is not gone. That's complete and utter 100% bull manure. That problem is gone because the Democrats who were doing all of that stuff are not in charge anymore. It was the Democrats who were chasing people with dogs, putting fire hoses on them, shooting them, coming up with outrageous poll taxes because it was the Democrats who instituted Jim Crow. And it wasn't just Southern Democrats. It was the Democrats in the federal government starting with Woodrow Wilson. That problem is gone, Whoopi. It doesn't happen today. What happens today is that new Black Panther Party shows up with guns at polling places to stop white voters, and you people on The View and you people in the mainstream press refuse to say a damn thing about it because it doesn't fit your narrative. But that's what happened in Philadelphia. You had the new Black Panther Party showing up with guns at polling places, threatening people, and not a word from Whoopi. Not a word from any of these people in the mainstream press about it. We've had Herman Cain add to the list, Larry Elder. We've had any number of black conservatives win. You had the guy he turned out to be, sadly, the guy, the lieutenant governor in North Carolina. Started off with the bang, ended up with porn, but still, I mean, And you still demonize Ben Carson to this day, call him all kind of Uncle Toms and everything else. You don't want equality. You don't want black voices to be heard. You only want black voices who echo white liberalism to be heard. That's it. You're the bigots. So the Supreme Court just affirmed what the entire civil rights movement was supposed to be about. Do not judge people by the color of their skin. That was the entire basis of the civil rights movement. And the Supreme Court of the United States just affirmed it. And you have every black liberal in the halls of Congress almost whining and moaning because the goals of the civil rights movement have been achieved in today's America. James Golden, Snerdley. Don't go away.
Rush. This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Snerdley.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
Rush. Now, here's James Golden.
It's not race, it's ideology. I want to continue that discussion tomorrow, especially with Princess Diana. I also want to congratulate Carlos, your New York Knicks. Apparently, I saw headlines, kick people. Yes, what?
I like the Knicks, but I'm a fan of the Boston Celtics.
I can't win. Gordon Lightfoot passed away on this day. 84 years old. I love Gordon Lightfoot. Love him. One of the best songs I've ever heard in my life is this one. If You Could Read My Mind, of course, he had Sundown. Multi-platinum artist, multi-gold artist. Just Gordon Lightfoot was just amazing. We got to go. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude, my friends, for your being here with me, allowing me to be with you. God willing, we are back early in the morning with the Saturday morning extravaganza. Begins 7 Eastern. Hopefully, you'll be there. Until then, my friends, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Roger Stone here. Every day you wait, your money loses value, but gold and silver don't follow those same rules. American Sovereign Bullion gives you access to a nationwide wholesaler network, helping you secure aggressive pricing on real physical metals. Call 844-272-2428 now to get your free gold and silver guide to learn how to protect your wealth with physical gold and silver, delivered right to your door or with a gold IRA. Visit ASBgold.com. That's ASBgold.com for your free gold and silver guide today.